Should you manage your first rental property yourself or outsource it to professional property management? That's the topic today. I'm Ray Northcutt. I've had 10 to 15 rentals at any given time over the past 5 years, and I've done long-term, I've done short-term, I've done remote, I've done local, I've done midterm leases, I've done a lot of different stuff with my rentals, and it's a topic that comes up all the time, right? Why would you outsource management and pay that 10% when you could just do it yourself? It's a very valid point. Personally, right now, I have a combination. Some of my units are outsourced as far as management goes, and some of them I still manage myself. I do like the idea of a new investor managing their rentals themselves, if it's feasible, for a year or two to learn the game, right? Learn what property managers do so that in the future, you know what questions to ask them. When you're vetting a property manager, just like you would vet a new tenant, you know what questions to ask them. You kind of know how their game is played because you've played their game, and you know the issues that come up yourself. So you can identify a good versus a poor property manager in the future when you do decide to outsource it. So that's one key point. Another key point is always factor in the cost of property management in your initial property analysis before you close on a house. Just assume that at some point you are going to outsource property management. That way, even if you do manage it yourself for any period of time, when and if the day comes and you do decide to outsource it, you've already factored that cost in and you still will have a cash flowing property. The last thing you want is to assume that you're going to manage it yourself forever, and so you don't even factor that cost into your property analysis up front. You buy a house, it cash flows while you're managing it, then you move across the country or whatever, you're scaling your portfolio, you don't have time to manage it anymore, you go to outsource it, and you look at the numbers and all of a sudden you're not cash flowing anymore when you factor in that cost of outsourcing management. All right, that's what you don't want. So whether or not you manage it for a long time, forever or never, just factor it in anyway up front before you even buy the property. And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty at the beginning. Learn the game. There's a lot of value in learning property management so that down the road you can speak the language, the property management language, right? You kind of know what to expect. There's certainly value in that. But there probably will come a day, especially if you want to take this seriously and scale to 10, 20, 100, 500 doors, right? Where you don't have time for property management. You need to focus on the high level tasks of finding properties, and doing deals. You don't have time to field a bunch of tenant phone calls for some petty stuff. Frankly, that's not where you should be spending your time if you do really want to pursue a larger portfolio and grow this into a business. Okay, so keep that in mind as well when you're looking at the big picture, but it starts with here and now. Factor that into your upfront costs, your monthly expenses, so that you've already got it figured in. But don't be afraid to get your hands dirty those first couple years. Like I said, I still have a property, a single family home in Jacksonville, Florida, that I've had for about 6 years now. And I still manage it myself because I've had the same tenants in there for like the last 5 years, and they're great. They're pretty much self-sufficient. I probably spend an hour a month on that property tops managing it from across the country. I'm like 40 hours away from that house. I never go there, but I talk to the tenants every now and again just to make sure everything's rolling along, and it is. They're happy. I'm happy. It's cash flowing. But if they did decide to leave and I needed to turn that over to a new tenant, I would outsource management at that point. Just frankly, I'm not in the spot in my life and career that I want to spend time screening tenants and worrying about that. But yeah, when you're just starting out, if it's local and you're doing a long-term tenant, it's not hard, guys. It's really not hard at all. And it helps you learn. It helps you get involved, learn how to speak to tenants, be the landlord, enforce everything that's in your lease. Here's one other option. If you wanted to pay a management company to place a tenant, but then not pay them for ongoing management. You can pay them a one-time tenant placement fee, and then they'll vet and screen tenants. They'll do that part for you, and they'll place a tenant, and then they'll be done. So at that point, it's up to you to collect rent, enforce any late payments, enforce everything else that's in your lease, and be a landlord. So, but you don't have to pay your 10% or whatever the fee is, the ongoing management fee in your market. Typically 10% is pretty standard. Depends on the market though, for long-term property management. So you can pocket that and just pay a management company a one-time fee to find and place a tenant. That's not a bad option. But anyway, so I hope that provides some light to your decision of whether to outsource management or do it yourself. I'm Ray Northcutt, and have a great day. Bye.